Xfinity's David Onda back here with the rest of the cast of SpongeBob Squarepants. Guys, after 20 years, what is something that most people don't know or would surprise them about SpongeBob Squarepants?
Oh, about the character or the show?
The show.
Man, I think the thing that surprises me is personally is how much fun it still is to record and how much we still have a good time and laugh, and it doesn't feel like a grind. Like those Wednesday afternoons where we record are actually a bright spot in my week still after all these years. So that's a nice, pleasant surprise for me personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he just woke up. Didn't mean to wake you, Clancy.
Totally. That's quite a surprise. What's surprising about Bikini Bottom?
Yeah.
Well, fish walk on their feet. That's kind of surprising. There's buses and beaches and it's all underwater. What do you mean? What's surprising about it? That's the charm of it.
No, I think it. So
I mean, you gotta ask better questions.
you mean now? He's talking about the show, like something with
This is how
the series that would surprise people, right?
this is how the interview is going to go. This is the first question of the interview. Surprising is that we've been on for 20 years, but we don't have 20 years worth of shows.
But it's math. Don't do the math.
How could that be?
I have no idea. What is that math? I get the sense that you, because you're all very fun, do you prank people in your SpongeBob voice or any of you? Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, sometimes it weirds people out. There've been a lot of times where parents get really excited for their little kids to meet the guy that does the SpongeBob voice and then have the SpongeBob voice guy do the voice for their kid who, go on, will you do it for him? Do the laugh. And the kids, and you go, okay, you sure? Is it okay for me to do? Oh, yeah, he'll love it. And you go, ah, and the kid just goes, ah, runs away in horror, or they just start crying, or they just back away slowly like, ew, So, yeah, the voice kid cannot be used for evil purposes.
Yeah. You've never ordered fast food in character?
No, but I go to a store and buy all my merchandise, and the kid says, well, do the voice. And I do the voice, and he goes, yeah, it's pretty good. Keep working on it.
We were talking with the other group about some of the more unusual things you've ever recorded your voice for a product or a video game. What are some of the more memorable things you've had to record your voice for?
As the SpongeBob voices?
Or any voice if you...
Clance, what's the most odd, strange, outside of the box product that Mr. Krabs has ever lent his vocal cords to? And I'll take my answer on the air.
Mr. Krabs doesn't lend his voice to anybody. So there's not a lot of product out there with the real deal.
That's right. He's doing it for the Benjamins. Mr. Krabs does not lend. He only sells his voice. I gotta say the probably the weirdest SpongeBob product in terms of like the recording of it that I ever did was there was a product years ago called SpongeBob Knows Your Name, and so there was a zillion phrases and conversational snippets that SpongeBob would say, but you could personalize it with your child's name. But that meant that SpongeBob had to record every name ever known on planet Earth in any country, A to Z.
Did we do one of those robot things where you talk to it like Alexis or Siri or something?
Yeah. We did some. We did a directional product where if you wanted in SpongeBob's voice, go left in 300 feet. That was a weird one. But so this SpongeBob Knows Your Name. You had to say, we record the sentences. Good morning. You're my best friend. I always like to hang out with. He's awesome. She's awesome. And then you start at A, and there were names on there that I go, no one's ever been named this. Yeah. This combination of letters has never occurred. And they had like a linguist present so that we didn't butcher some of the names too. I'm like LQNRZ. How do you even say that? It was crazy. That was the weirdest one for me.
Like where you pick it up at the truck stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Then,
This guy has never been able to find the little license plate at Disneyland.
Bort? Bort?
the weirdest one for me was the GPS. In 600 feet, go away.
Wrong directions on purpose just to be a jerk.
And the toilet training kit, which does exist, by the way. You're doing it wrong. Yes. I don't know about Marc, but he's ever done anything like that.
Marc, what is it about this series that it's still fun for you to work on 20 years later?
Just the amount of creative freedom that they give us at Nickelodeon to just go to the weirdest places on the show.
You running out of ideas?
No, never.
Him?
No. We'll get to points where it we'll have.
You might be running out of ideas.
Yeah, it does. It's like we'll have writer's block in the writer's room, and then the deadline will be like looming, and then that'll just like something about that space between the writer's block and the deadline just kind of squeezes the ideas out, and
It's just
like a pimple.
No, it's just like the toilet training thing.
Exactly.
You have pressure and you squeeze and it happens.
I just extruded a show idea.
Tom, it's no secret that you've recorded your voice for so many different characters. Tons. I mean, the list is seemingly endless.
Oh yeah, I don't say no to anything.
Is there is there one voice that you do that is infinitely harder than everything else you've done?
SpongeBob, people think that would be hard because it's high pitched, but it's pretty easy. You just go right back there. You can do that as long as you're, as long as you're in pretty good shape and there's no pollen in the air messing you up. It's pretty good.
But the hard ones are the guttural ones. Like I would say, like Eduardo from a show called Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It was a Cartoon Network series. There he was like a guy that was always like this, and he's like a big monster, but he's got big teeth like this. He's always talking, and he's got like Spanglish speaking Cookie Monster. It was like 4 hours of that. You're like ouch, Yeah.
It's really tripping me out hearing you go from voice to voice. It's like
Yeah,
they're
man.
both in there.
It's the bad guttural guys that rip me up, but that's kind of where Clancy lives. Lex Luthor, anybody?
It's the only place open to me, Tom. You take everything else. Gee.
Yeah, Clancy's versatile as hell, and Rodger is, and Bill is. That's kind of what's fun about working with these guys is that even after 20 years, I still am surprised by voices that I'll hear from them, where they'll just be reading, fish number 47 or whatever. They'll go, hey, Clancy, can you take that? And they'll be like, wow, I never heard that voice come out of him before. That's pretty cool. And oh yeah, the crabs. Yeah, none of us can imitate the crab's shocked surprise yelp. Can you give it to me?
Sure.
I'm like, how does he do it? No, I just sound like a dolphin that has a cork in its blowhole.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. You can watch SpongeBob episodes right now by saying SpongeBob Squarepants into your X1 voice remote.